Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. You made the trip. We've got a special guest tonight. We have a friend that a new friend that we just got that called me on the Willamette Valley Normal number, and like so many people do, and so I made a great contact, and I told him about the show, and here he is. And Q is an artist in every sense of the word. So tell us a little bit about your artist, American Indian artist.
Well, Dan, I want to thank you for welcoming me here at the show here on CCTV, and I want to tell people about a little bit about who I am, but most of all, I want to talk about becoming a change that has happened in my life. It's been a dramatic change, and it's been this last year. I don't know, a lot of people out there might know me, you know, they've seen me and seen my performances. I volunteered to library and public schools. A lot of the kids out there, if you're watching this, you know, you've seen me play, and you know what, I tell stories, that kind of thing. Drum, sing. I'm an American Indian. I'm full-blooded American Indian. I'm enrolled in the Kickapoo tribe in Kansas. I'm first elder for White Bear Medicine Society here in Eugene. Have been established since 1957 and perform marriage and all kinds of ceremonies of passage of rights, you know, I mean, time, you know, that kind of thing. Minister to families, go up to the jailhouse and minister to people up there, that kind of thing. What it is that for about 10 years, I'm a diabetic, type 2 diabetes, and I've got arthritis, and I've got nerve damage in my left leg, you know, and I've got a spine that's been fused and a shoulder, you know, I'm an old man, you know. I work construction, I'm all broken up and wound up in the hospital a couple of times and wrecked a couple of cars and wrecked a motorcycle. I had a deer jump in the middle of my lap and my arm went through my, you know, life.
You know? Like a comedian one time, he says, if I know I was going to live so long, I would have taken better care of my body.
Yeah, that's it. So, okay. I'm going up to the Indian Medical Hospital, you know, and they're prescribing opiates because, you know, I got a lot of pain. I got a lot of pain, only broken bones and everything, and the weather changes, and the next thing I know, you know, I'm a wreck sitting in a corner and I can't move. So I go up there and they prescribe. So for almost 10 years, I was taking, it worked up to about 45 milligrams of morphine every 6 hours.
I have some experience with morphine.
You know, and then you take.
I can see where people get in trouble with that.
Yeah, and then you take oxycodone on top of that for the pain. You know, the little spike pains that come up.
Yeah.
And none of it really work. It doesn't really work. I mean, it just makes it so that you just a dull kind of, you know, you get by. You know.
Right.
And then if you do make it work, you can't function. So, I told them keep all their medicine. I didn't want none. I blossomed. When I was taking the metformin and Aptopril and Monopril and all those kinds of things, the Prils, I blossomed like a great big rose. I was 395 pounds, and I couldn't reach my own blip to wipe it. Okay? And that's when I got mad and just fed up, and I went up there and talked to Dr. Tischner. I said, Doctor, I'm not taking any more of your medicine. I don't care if I die. I'm not taking it. And she said, well, that's your choice, but, you know, I don't know what you're going to do. And I went on home, and you know what happened? I had a lot of pain, and I started to lose weight, and I dropped down to 210 pounds, which is where I'm at now, okay? From 395 to 210 pounds in about 8 months. And I thought I was going to die, you know. I was checking my blood sugars, and they were high. They're up in 500s. And the pain was just outrageous, driving my wife nuts, my daughter, you know, no family life at all. But I wasn't taking any drugs. And I was talking to a friend, and he said that he's a diabetic, he's type 2 diabetes. He's got osteoarthritis and sciatic nerve damage, and basically the same kinds of things that I have. And so I said, well, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm using marijuana. And I said, well, how are you using it? I mean, I don't smoke, you know. That was after I got over the shock, because I'd never used marijuana except for when I, you know, long time ago, before I was even in the service, I'd smoked pot, you know, back in high school. Well, and it's a lot different than the stuff you smoked back in high school, Grandpa. It's a lot better.
That way, and that way you don't have to smoke as much.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't, and it doesn't cause cancer. And it doesn't cause that. You know, if you get a really good hit, it'll make you cough, sure, but that goes away. I got my card. Sure, it cost me $300 and some odd plus $150 for the examination. I had to bring in my 10 years of medical records, you know, and bring that into the doctor and talk to. And they're real nice people over here in Eugene. There are a lot of really compassionate, friendly people that are dealing with this illegal drug.
Yeah, it is. It's yeah, it's amazing. And so you, how did you find out about medical?
Well, I was talking to my friend, and he told me that he used marijuana, and I said, well, how do you do it? And he said, well, I just you know, I smoke it. And I said, well, I'll try it. So, you know, I tried it illegally. I wasn't registered or anything, but I tried it to see if it would do anything for me. And I mean, it put me on the ceiling.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You know, the first time I hadn't smoked it in 30 years, and I smoked it, and the damn stuff, it twisted my brain around a rock, man. I just would fall down and lay down on the ground, and you know, yeah, it was strong stuff. But then I realized after a while that, you know, you don't need to smoke a whole joint. You don't need to smoke a whole bowl full. You don't need to, you know, just little, that's all you need. You know, and you're good for all day.
Yeah.
You know, and same thing at night, little, and then you're done. And I really appreciate what it's done. Well, I'll tell you what it's done. My blood sugars are down to 120 level all the time. They used to be 500. My weight is down. The pain that I used to have, that I couldn't do this, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. You know, I couldn't touch the back of my head. I couldn't bend over. That whole, couldn't knock my mic off my shirt. That whole scenario of stiff, hard, stiff, hard pain, not being able to move, is gone. Except for when I don't smoke. But I can't decide whether I need to smoke more, often, less. That didn't make sense. Smoke less, more often. Eat it. No, man, I can't eat it. I tried eating it. I tried making I'll tell you a funny story. I took, you know what keef is? I didn't know what keef is. Keef is something like, you know, it's like yogurt. Or kefir is is some kind of a yogurt milk drink. You know, I don't know what that is, but somebody said, "Do you ever keef your weed?" What? What do you mean keef it? You know, I'm still doing this with my weed. You know, when I get the bud, I grind it like this. Yeah, that's what I do. You know, like make a little pile, and then I mix that pile up, and then I take all the stems out of it, and then I roll that. You know, and I smoke it. That's the way I use it. When other people, they say, "Well, you got to just put that stuff in ice." Put it in ice and take all them what's a trichrome? You know, that's a tricone, trinome. Is that some kind of, I don't know what that is. But anyway, inside that little flower, that little female flower, oh man, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful stuff. How about some music?
Definitely, we need to get to and by the way, I wanted to say that Q is not only is an artist in every aspect. He makes the flutes and he plays the flutes. So there's an artist and an artist. Well, these flutes that I make are not like any of the flutes that you're going to find in Eugene or in the West Coast. They're not. These are from my family. This is the way my family makes flutes. Now they're different shape, you know, than the flutes that you find down the Saturday market. They're different shape, and they're different inside too. There's some folks out there that make flutes, Jeff Calavan and Lewis, Den Sizemore, and Kevin Lott,
There's a bunch of them right around here in Eugene, all around. You know,
And what kind of wood is that again?
This is Osage orange.
Okay.
This is what they call ironwood. You know, this could be used as a weapon. You know, that'll crack your skull.
Wow, ironwood, it's hard to work with. So
it's very hard.
Wow.
Very, very hard wood. And the way I make these is I have some steel that's carbide steel that I've had some blades made at this shape, and I route this out. This is a split in half, and I route it out, and it's got a dual chamber. So that's the flute. Now, but
Okay.
I wanted to talk to you guys about the OMMP.
You bet. We got about 5 minutes, so however you want to do it.
Let's
You
get
bet.
back to that. Now we got 5 minutes. I'll play some music a little later. Maybe
Okay.
I'll play while we have a next gentleman come on. But,
Okay.
the OMMP. I was taking 45 milligrams of oxycodone every 6 hours, and it was ruining my life. You know. So I stopped. And then my blood sugars were still high, and pain was still there, but I wasn't, you know, I was losing weight because the metformin was causing me to hold water. Well, I started using marijuana. I tried it illegally, and it relieved my pain and let me sleep. And so I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do. So I went and got the card, and I put my money down and started using marijuana about a year and a half ago. And my health has improved 100%. I've got some other issues that are pending, but it's, you know, I swear by it, folks. And my grandfather, he used to use it. He was 120 years old, and he was known as a country doctor in Kansas, and he used marijuana. So.
Briefly, you talked about your exchange idea that you mentioned to me.
Well, yeah, you know, this whole thing about money and marijuana, it's like, why don't we just get away from it? You know, get away from the money altogether. You know, if I grow some in my backyard, I got a card, and I can grow my pot in my backyard. I can, you know, put it on my roof if I need to, get the sun, keep it away from the kids. Put it on the roof, you know. Get up on top of your house. Yeah, we can see it, but you can't get to it. Okay, so now I'm growing mine, and you're growing yours, and he's growing his, and that lady over there, she's got hers. So, well, now if we have a, I got this kind, and you got that kind. Well, I could take some of mine and give you, and you could give me some, and then I'd have a variety. See, now that variety is what I really want, because if I have a variety of this smoke, then it doesn't never get old. It never gets old. It's fresh flavor, it taste, its aroma, and its effect. And then my life and the essence of what I'm doing becomes normalized, you know? So let's legalize.
That's right.
What is
right. So think about the exchange idea. If you want to get a hold of Q, you can do that through by what you'll see on the screen.
Well, I'm going to be a member on that one thing. What is it? Oregon Green?
OregonGreenFree.net.
Yeah, I'll be on there.
Yeah, and he'll be on that. But I wanted to also see how effective the medicine is.
It is. It's good stuff. Smoke break.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead and continue. When it comes around again, we'll give. Yeah, go ahead and this is incredible.
Oh wait, that doesn't work.
It's also a blowgun, but
who put that in there?
Yeah.
Actually, this is a nice cloth. It's peanut oil, what I use on this. That's all. Okay. I made this flute in 1994. It's Osage orange, and I handcrafted it, and that's a onyx stone, and it's a beautiful piece of equipment. It's a beautiful flute.
That's great. We're going to take a break now. We're going to come back, and Q's coming back, and he has a special request that he's looking at. He's on a search. So we'll be back.
I'm looking for something.
Washington voters have passed Initiative 502, and beginning December 6, it is not a violation of Washington state law for adults over 21 years old to possess up to an ounce of marijuana or 16 ounces of solid marijuana-infused product like cookies or 72 ounces of infused liquid like oil, all for personal use. The initiative establishes a one-year period for the state of Washington to develop rules and a licensing system for the production and sale of marijuana. While legal in the state of Washington, beginning on December 6th, Oregon law has not changed with regard to marijuana possession, distribution, or manufacturing. It's important, though, to understand that under Oregon law, possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana is classified as a violation. It is not a criminal offense, and people cannot be arrested or jailed for the possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana. Possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana has been a low law enforcement priority for 35 years in Portland, and this will not change due to the new Washington law. What is not a low law enforcement priority is driving under the influence. DUI remains a high priority for the Portland Police Bureau. Here are some important questions and answers about the Oregon impact of the new Washington law. Yes, the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program allows for cardholders to possess certain amounts of marijuana. It does not dictate where cardholders can get it, and there are no changes to the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program because of Washington I-502. No, possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana is an Oregon violation, and you could be subject to a citation similar to a traffic ticket. No, while Portland police do not prioritize enforcing citations of less than 1 ounce of marijuana, smoking pot in public places is strictly enforced. Don't do it. Even under the new law in Washington, you are not allowed to smoke marijuana in public places. Washington is developing rules and a licensing system for the production and sale of marijuana, which may eventually lead to the existence of cafes or businesses where smoking pot is allowed. Until then, if you must consume pot, then do so in the privacy of a residence. Unless you are operating a vehicle, bicycles included, you cannot be cited for the consumption of marijuana. If an officer believes you're driving under the influence of a controlled substance, they will conduct a field sobriety test and may consult with a drug recognition expert. If officers establish probable cause, they will bring you to a precinct and ask your permission to draw your blood for testing. If officers have reason to believe you're under the influence of a controlled substance, they can get a search warrant for a blood draw from a judge. In a serious injury crash, if law enforcement suspects that the driver is impaired by drugs or alcohol, officers will apply for a search warrant to draw and test the driver's blood. It's important to know that driving under the influence is a criminal offense in Oregon, and those driving under the influence of marijuana or other drugs can be arrested and jailed for DUI drugs. While DUI alcohol is generally when a driver's blood alcohol content is 0.08 or more, there is not the same threshold for marijuana or other drugs. The threshold for DUI drugs is impaired to a perceptible degree. Get a designated driver, take public transit, or plan to stay the night in Washington. Yes, but you can still get a DUI drugs while riding a bicycle. Marijuana is still a Schedule I drug under federal law, and marijuana possession and sale remains illegal under federal law. The Portland Police Bureau cannot predict or control the enforcement activities of federal authorities. Much like existing fireworks laws, what is legal in Washington is not legal in Oregon. In other words, if it goes high in the air or it gets you high, you should probably use it in the evergreen state.
Welcome back to Eugene Cannabis TV here behind Sheldon High School. We would love to have you come out and see us at some point in time, or give us a call, let us know how you feel about things. Right now we have Q, our friend who's Native American and has this wonderful flutes that he makes. And he's an artiste. And that we're going to talk about how myself, with 10 years of being in the medical marijuana program, maybe a little more, and my new friend Q, who is also brand new into the program. And in our conversing, what we found is that there has been absolutely no changes in this process to help us get our medicine. That right now, Q has to wait 3 months before he can actually get, at least 3 months before he can get his first medicine. I had to do that 10 years ago to get my first medicine, and the only thing that's really changed is how much they're charging us and the different areas that they're charging us for.
You're a little bit mistaken by how that happens to me, but I've had my card now for over a year, I guess how long is it, how long you get it for? Annual year. So I've had it pretty much this season.
Okay.
It cost me, but what I was doing was costing me. You know, so I have to make the comparison, because it was what I was doing before with the opiates and stuff that were legally prescribed by the doctors off of the, from Indian Health, all that stuff. It was killing me. I mean, really. I couldn't move, couldn't function, couldn't family. All right, so $300, $150, and then there's all the, God, who am I going to get? Where am I going to get?
Right.
How am I going to do this? I'm lucky enough that, I minister to people all over the West Coast. I go into jailhouses and I go into places and talk to people that have done things that nobody wanted to do.
Yeah.
And they've had issues in their family. I'm a first elder for White Bear Medicine Society here in Eugene. I minister to people around. I'm just like you, Reverend.
Thanks.
Just like you, Reverend and people. And I play music for healing and transition, and minister to hospice, the dying and the infirm and all that kind of thing. And,
you do sweat
offer
lodges?
Prayer. Do what?
Sweat lodges?
Yes, but that's a whole
nother ball.
Whole nother, we can talk about that.
Well, the only reason I brought it up was because you had talked about grandfather and how you had grandfather that was 120 years old, and that he also was a doctor, and that he had gone
he was one of the first children that was ever sent to residential school. When the government took him in, they sent him to the best school that they could possibly take him to, and that was Yale.
Wow.
So he went to Yale and he graduated, and he was a naturopathic, homeopathic doctor in Brown County, Atchison County, Nemaha County, and he practiced making compounds. And I got to looking at stuff. Now, I'm a new OMMP patient, right, but I know about marijuana. I've been around it, But my grandfather used to use this Indian hemp, and he had a label that he had and it's found it on the internet. Looking for his name, found the Kickapoo doctor emblem, found the Kickapoo Indian hemp logo, and so now I'm using it on the compounds that I make. Now I want to talk to people about trading, because if we trade, we can eliminate the money, and if we eliminate the money, then we get the feds off our back.
That's true, because it's been commerce that they are always focused on in this process, and it's either interstate or interstate, and yet they feel they have a right to come in and do this. I was wondering how grandfather would feel about you doing the opiates. Probably would have gone.
No, actually, no. He said, if you can't grow it, you're going to be addicted to something. Now, no matter what it is, whether you like that tennis shoe, or you like basketball, you like all that, white man going to make something for you, and you're going to be addicted to it. So he's going to lead you around by your nose.
There it is.
There it is. So now, if we can grow it in our backyards, I'm going to grow some, he grows some, he grows some. We can trade. I'll trade you some of mine for some of yours, and then we can have a variety. Let's go. Forget about money.
Right. Well, see, the thing for me in that process is that I kind of do that with the herb that I get to people, and it's called Will's Mix. And yet the hardest part about it is having them come back and say, this really helped me with my migraine headache, or this really helped me with my neuropathy. Because if they don't know exactly what it is, then I've got to try and figure it out either by the smell, the look, the taste, or whatever. There's a plant. I hope we have enough time to talk about. Okay, we're going to talk about this plant. This is really important to
This is very important to me about this plant. This year was my first season venture. Oh man, it was wonderful. And my grower, where's that camera at?
Say thank you.
I love you. Yes, I do, and you know it.
Nice.
Person.
That's so great because we don't hear that
Good
from
person.
enough people
Work
who have
hard.
out
In
there.
fact, I went there with him. And goddamn, you know, it's hard brick clay. You know, you got to dig a hole.
Really
you know,
work.
you got to dig a hole.
So let's talk about this plant.
Yes.
That you want to know.
This thing grows up. It's a plant. If anybody out there watching, you've seen this, you know what this plant is. It's a plant I'm looking for. I'm trying to find out what strain it is so that we can plant it again this year. The reason I want it is because it's short. Okay? It grows short, but it spreads way out. And it's got these things that grow off of it. Look like a monkey tail, a monkey fist tail, or monkey fist tree, or monkey tail tree. That's what it is, monkey tail tree.
Okay.
It grows up like that, you know. But the vine, well, I mean, the stalk grows up and it's like it's split. It's corded, heavily corded, all the way up. And then the laterals coming out, they go out like that, and they look like they're going to go out like a vine rather than going up, you know.
Right,
And then
but you're also saying that it was really
it's
purple in color.
It's
and
purple, and it's got
9 to 12.
9 to 12 finger leaf, you know, real narrow. And when it blossoms, the stalk itself just gets all just budded, you know, just heavy, and it just stinks. It stinks.
For those of us out there, keep an eye out. If you find this, then let us know, please, because we have to go. Having too much fun, gotta go.
The thing reminded me
Take
of
care,
an
folks.
emperor penguin.
Love you. And we'll see you next time.
Se shwendom wiche no samdam, and anime no samdak. Yaho.
Thank you.
I mean, herbs are good for everything.